I grew my old YouTube channel from 125 subscribers all the way to 1,032 subscribers in about 30 days, and I did it completely organically. No gimmicks, just smart strategies and consistencies. What's going on, everybody? It's Professor Zeus, and I'm back with another video. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and hit subscribe. We're on our way to 2,000 subscribers. We are taking it the humble route. My last video before I started taking things serious with YouTube was one of my music videos, The Science of Healing, which I dropped back in July 16, 2023. And back then, I was like, again, 125 subscribers. Fast forward 30 plus days, and I got serious, and boom, I'm well over 1,000 subscribers. So if you're trying to grow your channel fast, this video is for you, and I'm breaking down exactly what I did step by step. So let's get into it. So, back in July 16, 2023, I uploaded one of my music videos, and 125 subscribers. Back then, I was also utilizing my page for the mental gymnastics show, which is where I was also reviewing different news articles and things that I came across. But, I was feeling so unmotivated and unsure about, the trajectory of YouTube and things like that. But after that video and having like 1.5, 2 years time to think about it, I decided to go all in on YouTube and just my personal branding and my messaging, which has always been you and I verse. So I started mixing my music videos with the journey type vlogs, which is real everyday life moments from my personal life on just what it means to being a father, a husband, a son, a brother, all these different types of things. And now I've also, started to go back and having commentary where I give my honest opinions and takes on current events. And I always try to be fair and critical, not really having my own opinion, but raising these articles and things that I found on the news. So, there can be a larger conversation, right? Because that's, again, the whole point of you and I verse. And so that combination of, my personal music videos, my vlogs of my everyday life and my takes on current events, that's just been my secret sauce to say. So the first big lesson I would say, you need to know your niche. Mine's the blend of, music, storytelling, and being fair and having, no BS commentary. And I'm not really trying to chase every trend, just finding a specific audience that appreciates your work and what you have to say. So step one, figure out what you're good at and what people will stick around for. Are you into tech, fitness, music? Like me, you can look at that, lock it in, and you'll be able to have more casual viewers that way, I would say. um and I would also say the thing that makes content stick, because this is where I started turning things up, right? When I started my 30-day my 30-day run, I tested two styles, which was having scripts for my videos and also freestyling, right? So for my commentary videos, I really lean hard into scripts. I form kind of like a basis of what I want to say, what I want to get across, and that keeps me sharp and pretty on point, especially when I'm diving into like serious and hot topics. A solid script, it can cut off, certain fluff, and it'll also pack a lot of value into every second of the video. And trust me, when you're trying to grow fast, every second counts, literally. So when I'm watching and I'm reacting to certain videos, I have a notebook on my side, or I use my iPad, write a few notes down, practice it a couple of times, and hit record. And as you guys can see, I've been using the same setup. It's my MacBook camera. I do have a mic right here. It's a Yeti Nano. I use that. But it's no fancy equipment, and I also use my iPhone, for my vlog videos. That's pretty much it. And I just hit record. So I would say if you're starting out, you can start with scripting, because it's just like training wheels, just to build up your confidence. But going back to my vlogs, the journey, right? This whole year, 2025, I've always been saying that it's going to be a great year. It's just not going to be easy. So I've made a mental note of trying to capture the progress of the type of person I am now and the type of person I'm on my way to being, right? Because I know where I'm headed. And I would also like my son to see, oh yeah, like, my dad, he really did everything that he had to do in order to, make sure me and, my future siblings are straight. So that's kind of why I got into, the journey vlogs. But it's literally just me, my cell phone camera, and real life, no script. Um, and I'm just talking. Any thought that comes into my head, I just let it go. And if writing scripts isn't your flow, or that you're really not into that, that's cool too. You just have to be vocal. You have to bring a lot of energy, and you have to add a lot of value consistently. People subscribe to me because they, feel a real connection. And whether you are having scripts or whether you're freestyling, you got to make sure you stretch your videos to at least 8 to 10 minutes with real content, with real substance. Shoot short 3-minute clips. They don't really hook people like the longer stuff is doing. And that's just the way of the game right now. And like I'm gonna show you guys in a second, I'm gonna show you my YouTube studio dashboard, just to give you guys an honest sense of, I'm like open, just trying to be as transparent as I can be. um YouTube is really pushing for smaller creators. They're pushing, and you guys have seen my previous video about Netflix looking into get into this space. So that's why I've honestly also been, trying to push, because if I can get a Netflix budget behind this, I'm gonna change my setup, and I might really be a little bit more tailored, and things like that. But yeah, that's essentially what I've used right now for 900 subscribers. The 900 subscriber jump in like the last 30 days. Um, Now with the technical stuff, titles, thumbnails, and tags, these are your SEO. So when you hear SEO, that's search engine optimization. What are words that you are using for your YouTube that when people look up certain things, you're the first thing that they view? Um, that's how I went to 125 and 1,032 subscribers. I was using key phrases, I was using key words in order to attract certain people to watch my videos. So like, look at my titles, right? You've got to make them literally irresistible. And I've been testing different types. You can have YouTube titles where they're how-to videos, or you can have numeral YouTube title where it's like 5 books that changed my life, or 8 life lessons that I learned from my father, different things like that, or why. You might have seen like a lot of my previous videos were why, the American taxpayer needs a Doge dividend, or how um so and so happened because so and so, right? I'm just testing different things out, but they've been working. But now I've started going back to my more elaborate YouTube titles, because I'm testing. Everything is a test. You test, you fail, you try again. Um because you want things that are clickable, specific, and then keyword friendly, obviously. So you got to pick at what's trending in your niche, and test it out. Now, thumbnails. A good thumbnail is gonna grab someone's eye in a split second. And what I usually just do my face. If I'm reacting to some, it's gonna be probably a picture of them and like a complimentary second picture with a bold text. And that's kind of been what's been working for me. Right. When I get better equipment, I have a strategy where I'm gonna change my my thumbnails and things like that. But right now, all you need is Adobe Express. Take a selfie and upload it. You know, mess around with the filters, mess around with the effects. Have a picture if your commentary reacting to anything, have that in it, and then have a bold title on the thumbnail. That's all you need. And tags, I use probably 5 to 10 tags per video. So stuff like my Dr. Umar Johnson videos, like Pan-Africanism debates, um, Black Queen, you know what I'm saying? Like things like that that can attract people based on what their interests are. Doge dividend, economic crisis, different things like that have been working. Um, yeah, because the YouTube algorithm right now is up for grabs for anybody. Um, and I would say the last thing that really I honed in on these last 30 days were consistency and community. So I went hard, like literally a video every day. Like I would try to go for at least 6 to 7 videos a week. So sometimes what I would do is I would record a whole bunch of videos in one day, and then I would schedule them later in the week, or I'd schedule them later in the day. Like I just dropped 2 videos earlier today. I shot them last night and then I released them, today. Um, so and I'm mixing it up, the types of content that I have. So it's a mix of music videos, it's a mix of vlogs, it's a mix of commentary. Just find a way to keep your content flowing. And finding that is not easy, but once you get in the rhythm and once you get that consistency going, you know, it's like you can't stop. You're gonna be like, you will write your to-do list and you be like, yo, like, oh, I gotta make sure I upload at least one video. I gotta make sure I at least upload 2 videos and different things like that. You don't need to necessarily post daily, but during a growth sprint, like if your goal is to attract more subscribers, then obviously posting more is better. Now, as far as community, anytime somebody comments, I try to reply or at least react to their comments and things like that. And that's why I end every video like, "What's your take on this?" Because I'm opening up. I'm having this commentary to host a larger conversation with the world, right, on different issues. So if I say, "What's your take on this?" Drop any thoughts. If you drop some, I'm gonna react to it. I'm gonna respond to it, right? And you do that to the best of your ability, right? And think about like my vlogs, right? The journey. My subscribers now, they're not just watching it, they're joining in the journey. You feel what I'm saying? That's why I call it the journey. And honestly, I need to get back to it. I've been more so focused on my commentary stuff, but I need to have a schedule where I'm posting more vlogs for the journey as well as my original content type stuff, right? So moving forward, now that I've passed 1,000 subscriber mark, I'm gonna have a little bit more of a detailed timeline, a detailed spreadsheet of how I want to actually push out these content. But the thing is, I'm gonna be consistent, and I don't have any special gear. What I will say is I do have the Osmo DJI. You feel me? I have this little thing right here. So if I'm around walking, if I'm moving around the day, like boom, you feel me? I'm just walking. It's just walking, talking. Hey, yo, it's Professor Zeus. I'm back with another video. If you know what I'm saying, I just do that, and then I got the little I got the tripod. So if I really want to just like drag or whatever, I can just like literally set it right here. You feel me? Just set it anywhere and just like talk to the camera. So yeah, so and so, I'm dropping my son up, and just do it like that, right? Engage like crazy, be consistent as possible. Now, before I let you guys go, I want to actually show you my YouTube Studio channel dashboard. Okay, so let me pull this up. So this is my channel dashboard, right? So you see my channel analytics. I'm currently at 1,032 subscribers, plus 859 in the last 28 days. Yep, still 1,032, right? Now my best video right now is my video that I did on Kanye. How I said I'm frustrated with Ye, but I'm defending his right to speak. Currently, that's 1,000. That's 1,100 videos right now. 21 likes, but I still have my old music videos, 58 likes. Then the other one with Saudi Arabia's AI super city that they're building. So just testing out different things. And I'll show you this, right? No subscriber was bought, but I do promote my videos, right? I'm not ashamed to say that. Look, and it's super cheap. Cost $2, $2, $13, $5, $10, $10, $20, $20, right? $20. And these don't necessarily can guarantee you subscribers, right? Because look, your promotion impressions are counted every time a thumbnail of yours is shown. So that means that's another key thing when I talk about it's important to have engaging and super crazy thumbnails. Not even super crazy, but thumbnails that people are gonna like, wow, like I need to click this, right? So the video that I uploaded on my birthday from 21 to 31, building a family, business, and life, I got 58,000 impressions on it. And I got some subscribers because it was simple. I'm just looking at the camera and I have a phrase. It gets greater later. It gets greater later. That's all I had, literally. Right. And then I have this other one where I'm talking about Netflix versus YouTube. I'm telling you guys what I'm trying to do so you guys can also consider it. The Netflix video, 77,000, right? The video about Yay, 66,000, right? And these are all impressions. People aren't necessarily going to click on it, right? That just shows that your thumbnails, your titles, everything has to be in your own style and it has to be drawing the viewer in. All right? So literally that's how I did it. Mix up the type of content I drop, be my personal best self, try to have a conversation with everybody. I don't try to do anything fancy. I'm using my MacBook camera and my phone setup for vlogs, and that's it. And I just sit down, hit record, talk, upload. That's all I do. Sometimes I have scripts, sometimes I'm freestyling. Right? So find what works for you. You know, keep on trying to make as much content as you can. If you're trying to grow, just pump out as much content as you can. Master titles, thumbnails, tags, be consistent, you know, all that good stuff. And if this video helped you, honestly, hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. We're at 1,032, but we're about to hit 2,032. You know what I mean? And drop a comment. What's your biggest hurdle to growing on YouTube? There are a few. Let me know some of yours, and maybe we can pass that hurdle together. Never ever forget, it's you and I verse for a reason. I teach you, you teach me. We both take what we taught each other, what we learned from each other, and apply it to what's going on. That's the only way life can go on. Send this video to someone who's got a YouTube and is discouraged. Tell them it gets greater later. Until next time, peace.